Hello everyone, this is my week 7/8 sketchbook tour of my second observational still life. The materials I used were the Faber-Castell graphite matte pencils, B pencils, plus the H, 2H, 4H, and 6H. These different tortillions, a cotton swab, the microfiber that Mr. Jones gave us in class, a kneaded eraser, the soap erasers, and an X-Acto knife to sharpen my pencils. I was missing an HB and a B pencil, which I noticed could have possibly helped me out with those light, not so light objects. So after watching the intro videos to this assignment, I decided to make a 5-tier value scale and stick with it throughout the project, which I found very helpful to come back to and essentially guide me through the light and darks of each object. Those videos were actually very useful to fully grasp what we've been learning and helped me put the concepts into perspective and apply them to this week's sketchbook tour. My process started with mapping out and measuring each object. I tend to start with the middle object and then move outwards to help me out with those proportions early on in the drawing process. Once I found out those proportions, I started with the darkest darks, which were the objects on the left. I started with the pear, which helped give me the overall proportion of the bottle. For the darks, I actually wrote down which pencils I used to help keep track of how dark I was getting those values. So for the pear, as you can tell, I used those. For the bottle and the tube, I used those. And then the darks were actually my favorite because I was able to spend the most time on really building up those values, but keeping the shape of the object and not losing any rendering that I had mapped out in the beginning. And then I would say I struggled the most on making the vase look textured / realistic, and the cup handle, plus as well not being able to fully figure out how to separate the front light object, in this case being the cup, from the back light object, which was the vase. I as well had to resize the box a couple of times throughout the drawing process, but I'm happy with how I was able to get the simultaneous contrast effect that we learned in the videos. Overall, I enjoyed the drawing process for this assignment, even though I'm not too pleased with how the shading looks on those lighter objects. I think I did a pretty good job at getting those proportions right, and I'm excited to learn new techniques for my future drawings and for my handles. And yeah, that's my week 7/8 sketchbook tour. Thank you.